Do, 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 do. Trying to set up stream so it's right side up. Hopefully not frozen. Happy May the 4th, everybody. Happy. Apologies for coming on late and ending early. I'm actually not gonna do a full stream today. And I didn't even change the title. I did all of this just to not stream and not change the title. So I'm gonna make sure I do that before I close out. But basically, today is Monday. It's supposed to be Mobility Monday, where I do different mobility exercises to keep my body mobile and agile, able to do my daily activities and fun things on the side. When I went to stream today, first I got some really good sleep yesterday. The sun was out, super warm, and I decided that I was going to take my bike out with my dog, and a short bike ride turned into a couple of hours and lunch in the park, which was really nice. Was not planned though, so when I came home, I basically took a nap, which I was very proud of myself for being tired enough to want to take a nap. And then I woke up feeling super rested, like I had slept in a cloud, but I woke up at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or something like that. So I then posted a handstand video onto my TikTok, and I stayed up until like 8 a.m. or something like that. And I already knew most likely I would fall asleep before stream time, but because my sleep was such quality sleep, I was kind of grateful, because if you were following my sleep last week, it was kind of crappy. So yeah, I basically woke up at 3 o'clock and I was like, you know what? I feel good. I know I'm rested. I've been getting in like good water, like I said, good exercise, good food and everything. So I'll just stream. So I started moving rather quickly, got everything set up to start streaming, and it was like 3:11 or something like that. And I looked at the clock and saw that it was May the 4th, and I looked at my outfit and I was not wearing anything space related at all. And I don't talk about it very much because I don't feel like the most insider of the genre, but considering what most people's life experiences are, I do have relative experience in the space industry. I did work for aerospace. Technically, I work for Boeing, which isn't like super spacey. It can be, but I didn't work in that sector. But I did work for an asteroid mining company, Planetary Resources. So it is near and dear to my heart, in that I try my best to be involved in aspects that I find interesting, even if it's just, getting into the building. I like to say, a janitor that works at SpaceX still works at SpaceX, even if they're just the janitor. And if you have ever worked in a building of importance, or with people that make important changes in the world, and I do mean the world, right? Like, not significant to you in your life. Like, oh, I really care about boba tea, and this person owns a boba tea restaurant. But space, for example, kind of a big deal. You understand that being in the building is a big deal, even if you're not the person that's making the decisions, because you're in the rooms where the things that are being discussed are being discussed. And yeah, it's really cool to me anyway. That's how I see it. Especially because, like I said, having been one of those people that has been in those rooms and around those people, and thankfully, I'm not saying I'm not someone that's never been starstruck before, because I certainly do get starstruck, but I'm aware that it can happen, and I try really hard not to let it happen. So there were times when I briefly worked for the asteroid mining company, where there were people that were from the Ancient Aliens series that, I don't know if it still comes on. I know it was on when I was working there. And one of the guys, he didn't look familiar to me when I was talking to him, remember? Everybody's important as far as I know. But he was trying to show me how to use this coffee machine. It's like really, really complex coffee machine, like espresso, whatever. And I don't drink coffee like that. So at the time, I don't even think I drank coffee at all. But I certainly don't drink coffee enough to know anything about like anything, to give any sort of pointers. And he was talking to me about what to do with the machine, and I was listening, but I was also like, I truly won't ever use this knowledge because I don't care to drink coffee. And then a few days later, I recognized his face as one of the guys that was on Ancient Aliens. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the guy that was showing me how to use the coffee machine. And like, he's just like an important person to other people. And I think that's really cool. I really appreciate that. Especially because like also living in a place like Seattle, there are a lot of people that are like very wealthy or very influential in their areas. And I've been lucky enough that many of them do not portray themselves that way because they don't want to be treated differently. Also, like obviously, if people know you're really successful or you have a lot of money, you tend to get a target on your back of people like wanting to take advantage of you or like wanting to like rob you and like set you up and stuff like that. So it's just easier if people don't know. And they've always been very much like, I won't say the exact opposite of a wealthy person, but it's funny how much you wouldn't know that they were wealthy if you didn't know what to look for, or if you weren't looking, I should say. And like I said, I really appreciate that because it's like when people approach you with that, like, oh, I expect you to treat me like I'm on a pedestal and stuff, like I automatically like lose respect for you because it's like if you have to demand other people treat you a certain way, it must be because you don't think it's apparent. Like you have to make it known. Then it's not something they would be able to just naturally want to do. In which case, it's probably not something that you deserve. Oh, oh my gosh. Anyway, so the plan today was to come on the stream, do Mobility Monday, and do another bike ride. But because I woke up late and then decided to change my outfit because I wanted to support May the 4th, I was like, I have to go to my storage unit because all of my space themed things, which I truly have a wardrobe of space stuff. This is why I was like, no, I'm not gonna not have anything. And I really didn't have anything in my house, so I had to go to the storage unit. So when I made the plan, I was gonna go bike riding afterwards. And one thing led to another, ended up taking yet another nap, which was very satisfactory. I'm very happy I took it. It was a good sleep, but it put me behind schedule. So I went to the storage unit, and then I went to the store because I wanted to make sure I had food for dinner so I'm not starving later. And then I just now got here, and I've been taking my sweet ass time. But I think I'm still gonna go for a bike ride, which is why I said that this stream wouldn't be very long, because mobility is biking as well, and I think that rather than care about the fact that I'm on stream and I'm doing something in front of the camera, that I'm being honest about it and I'm taking advantage of what my body wants to do. And what my body wants to do is actually a lot more athletic than what I'd be doing on camera anyway. So that's why I said I figured I'd get on camera and do a few stretches. Get a little bit warmed up here because the sun is already set or setting. It's only going to be light outside for like another 30 minutes or so. And thankfully I live on the beach, so I can do a quick ride while the sun is setting over the water without too much stress. Also, I rode my bike up the hill yesterday for the first time, and it was after I had been riding for a few hours, so my bike was like dying and my legs were actually tired, and I made it all the way to the top without taking a break, and my bike was pretty good. I did work while I was pedaling. I wasn't just like, letting the bike do all the work. So yeah, I don't have any issues with using the bike to get up and down the hill. I just have to make sure I have enough battery to not die halfway up, because that hill is not a joke. Oh my gosh. At first I thought I was gonna be able to just do like walking. I think I said that on stream. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna walk down and walk up. But even on the bike with the motor on the whole time and pedaling the whole time, I could tell that that hill would be a bitch if I got stuck on it without wheels. Walking up that hill, it's a type of incline where like you're taking steps, but you don't feel like you're moving very far because it's so steep. But yeah, Zoe wants to go outside. I want to go outside. Like I said, I'm just going to do a beach cruise. I might pop back on later this week since I didn't do a very long stream. But honestly, I was fighting myself to even stream today. And I wanted to just go out. And rather than just do that, I debated myself all day. And now I ended up just making that decision anyway. So yeah. Most likely, hopefully, I'll just do another stream later this week to make up for this one because I wanted to do Vinyasa flow and I actually had one ready to go on the video. And I still need to do my handstands. Oh, tickety talk. Talk of the tickies. Let's see. Let's do a live handstand for TikTok so you can see. That was a live handstand on TikTok, everybody. Not the best. Just a simple warm-up handstand. And I tell you guys, I love my new place. Like, I know I say it a lot, but something about just having less space. It just feels so cozy. I feel like I live in California. And I don't like California, but there's a vibe, you know, that beach vibe. And I get beach vibes living here, which is like my favorite vibe. I love living in the beach burbs. I was actually telling myself that when I was younger, this was one of the neighborhoods that I would drive through and be like, oh, I want to live here. Like, you know, hopefully you do that when you were young, or you do that now when you're trying to like manifest or just like dream about like what you actually like and think about like what you actually care about, your preferences. And because this is the closest beach to my high school, I would come here in summer and stuff, and like this is how I learned how to like parallel park and everything, is like being down by the beach. But we would come up to the store to get like, you know, stuff for the campfire and things like that. And I remember driving through it and being like, wow, like this neighborhood is really cool. Like I wish that I lived in this neighborhood. Like this neighborhood, like, you know, because when you're younger, you don't really feel like, you don't really think about it as like a real thing. Like you're just kind of like, oh, like that'd be cool, but you don't really think about it like, what would it take for me to live here, you know? But the reality is that most places in Seattle, you can afford to live there. You obviously aren't going to be able to afford like the biggest, best houses, because there are quite literally mansions in where I live. I mean, it's next to the water after all. But there's like affordable housing too. I mean, I know people that have found 1-bedroom studios on the water, like straight up on the water, within like decent price ranges. And mind you, they're not the best looking places, but it's that mindset. Like if you really truly want to live in a specific area, like what are you willing to do to live there? Like a lot of people, they'll say, oh, it's too expensive to live in the city, and not realize that they're paying the same price to live where they live, only they don't have any of the amenities of the city. And I like where I live because not only do I have a view of the city, but I'm close enough to the city that it really doesn't feel like I'm not living in the city. And because of the area, and then the crime level is really low. And you know, like I said, I lucked out in being able to get a yard for my dog, so I'm really grateful. And I'm trying to wait for her to come back in. But yeah, that's the plan. Sorry this was such a short stream. But yeah, things are doing good, weather's doing well, everything is falling into place, and more to come in the coming days, everybody. See ya!